मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी बहुत रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
In the news tonight, COVID-19 cases remains at 1. Police issue worst warning. And Fijians start taking precautionary measures.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spate.
There remains a single confirmed case of COVID-19 in Fiji. Ministry of Health officials today confirming that while the coronavirus patient has been isolated, along with close relatives, work is ongoing in contact tracing to assist others that may have had close contact with the patient, who's a flight attendant. Head of the Health Protection, Dr. Alicia Sahu-Khan, also clarified the close contact criteria that would have put others at high risk on both the San Francisco and Auckland flights that the patient worked on. Maggie Boyle tells us more.
Setting the record straight, Ministry of Health officials today clarifying the number of confirmed coronavirus cases.
That the overall situation in terms of COVID-19 outbreak infection in Fiji remains the same. There is no new cases.
The priority now for the ministry is containment and tracing those who may have had close contact with a flight attendant.
So a close contact is somebody who's spent about 15 minutes or more face-to-face with this person during the infectious period, or someone who's spent 2 hours within the in a close confined space. You know, this could include doctor's surgery or something similar.
The head of Health Protection also highlighting the transmission period of when the patient would have been the most infectious.
Monday to Tuesday. Tuesday evening is when he was admitted and isolated. So that's when that period, when we have got him in an isolation unit and he's likely stopped transmitting. So we're tracing people he may have come into contact with on Monday and Tuesday of this week.
As such, those at risk includes the flight crew that the patient worked with, along with the passengers on the 3 flights he worked on, which includes FJ 871 San Francisco to Fiji on the Monday and the Tuesday flight 411 and 410 from Auckland to Fiji return. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
And Maggie joins us live now. Maggie, what is the ministry's response to rumours rife on social media on other suspected cases of coronavirus?
Good evening, Jackie. Yes, health officials today making it very clear that any confirmed or suspect coronavirus cases, that information will come from the ministry officials. The chief medical advisor, Dr. Chimesa Tundravu, also stressing the importance of patient information and confidentiality, which is paramount. It's something he's saying that the general public need to also respect. He's also stressing the importance of containment and the contact tracing measures, which is now the priority. Dr. Alicia Khan, of course, talking about the health officials working on this around the clock at the moment to trace all of those flight crew and the passengers that would have been on the flight that the confirmed case the flight attendant was on. He worked on 3 flights. This was on Monday, the 16th of March, and Tuesday, the 17th of March of this week. Now, we know that the flight attendant was admitted to Lautoka Hospital, where he was then isolated on the Tuesday evening. On the Monday, he worked on the San Francisco into Nandi flight. He apparently worked the business class of the flight. They've been in touch with those passengers. On the Tuesday, he worked on the Nandi Auckland return flight. Now, the flight from San Francisco, that flight number is FJ 871, and for the Auckland flight return, that is flight FJ 410 and 411. Now, the health officials are reaching out to people that have been on these flights. Again, this was Monday and Tuesday of this week, and reached out to them to say that they can get in touch with the hotline numbers that have been designated so that they can be assessed as well, particularly if they're showing any symptoms of COVID-19, that is. Jackie.
Thanks for that, Maggie. Fijians who will not adhere to the restrictions in place for the Greater Lautoka area in light of a confirmed COVID-19 case will be taken to task. Police officers have been stationed at the borders to stop entry into Lautoka, and it will remain closed until further notice. Pranita Prakash reports.
The strict measures on movement in and out of Lautoka have been implemented, keeping in mind the safety of the people.
But in the last few hours, from midnight last night, everybody has been that has been calling up has been attempting to bend things to suit their own agenda. This is for the health and well-being of all Fijians, and everybody needs to make sacrifices so we can get things right again.
Brigadier General Sitiveni Ngiliho says 5 checkpoints have been established in Lautoka to ensure there is no unnecessary movement.
There's one in this general area of Natalau, and there's one on the other side of Lautoka city towards the Mba end, and we've established 2 about 200 meters away to control the heavy volume of traffic.
Those caught defying these restrictions will be dealt with by the police.
There are various provisions under the Public Safety Health Act and of course under the Public Order Act that gives the powers to the Minister for Health and the Permanent Secretary of Health to be able to restrict people's movement. And obviously, if you do not adhere to those restrictions, there are consequences in law regarding that.
The Greater Lautoka area, which has been closed off, includes areas from Kings Road at Nathilau Junction past Matawalu Village to the Fida Road at Wakambuli Junction to the Queens Road at Natalau Junction. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
A number of people have caused disruptions at the Nandi Lautoka border checkpoint, with movement in and out of Lautoka city restricted. A senior police officer manning the border told FBC News that since early this morning, people have been trying to enter Lautoka or travel into Nandi from the restricted zone. However, police have made sure that no one enters or leaves Lautoka, as announced by the Prime Minister Vurenge Bainimarama yesterday. In ensuring they implement strict movements into Lautoka from the Nandi side, police have set up 2 checkpoints. The first checkpoint is located just past Sambeto Road, while the second checkpoint is situated at Natalau Junction. And we now join Felipe Naikaso live from Nandi. So, Felipe, you were at the checkpoint outside Lautoka City earlier today. Were you able to speak with anyone who was hoping to travel through to or away from Lautoka? And we seem to be having some sound issues there. Moving on with our bulletin, public transport continues within the restricted boundaries of Lautoka City. The president for the Fiji Bus Operators Association, Nisar Ali Shah, says their operators within Lautoka continue to service the travelling public on a reduced schedule.
So we are providing the service within the Lautoka City area. Inside the restricted area, and it's very limited, and we are just cutting down on the services, and that will go up to 5 o'clock.
Taxis also continue to service the restricted area. Fiji Taxi Association President Rabin Ali says a few taxis are operating to ensure that those who need essentials are able to get to them.
It's lockdown and we cannot call any meeting more than 20 people, but we're trying to also, our secretary and the committee members, they're going around and talking with the members to be safe, to put the mask while they're driving around and put the hand glove on their hand and keep the chemical to wash your hands and all those things. We're trying our best to help them out.
For the areas outside of Lautoka, the FBOA president says it's business as usual, with bus operators counselled on ensuring personal hygiene is maintained and drivers equipped with masks and gloves. With a confirmed case in the country, Fijians are taking precautionary measures. On the streets of the capital, Suva, people were today seen wearing masks and gloves. Several businesses heightened hygiene practices and employees required to follow government advisories while serving the public. Kelly Vadala reports that public transport drivers have also taken similar approaches.
It wasn't the normal Friday you would expect, and this was evident with less than usual movement in the capital city since this morning.
We are afraid of the coronavirus. That's why we want to wear now.
People are just trying to keep safe. It's a serious issue.
Seeing people walk around town with masks is a wake-up call for us. We will soon be taking precautionary measures too.
For these public transport drivers, it's ensuring providing services but keeping safe.
Don't know when which person they come inside the taxi, so keep safe.
I've seen many of my passengers from this morning wearing masks. It's the only thing to do to ensure we are safe from the virus.
Several businesses like this barbershop says they're adhering to the health guideline of COVID-19.
We're using gloves right now and we're looking for the mask, but the mask is out of stock right now.
Apart from people on the streets, we saw those visiting supermarkets wearing protective masks and hand gloves. The general consensus on the streets is that prevention is the best way to beat the deadly disease. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
And we've managed to get Felipe Nakaso back with us. Felipe, as I was saying earlier, you were at the checkpoint outside Lautoka City earlier today. Were you able to speak with anyone who was hoping to travel through to or away from Lautoka?
Jackie, apologies for that, for some technical issues. Yes, we spoke to a number of people who are trying to enter into Lautoka, and the majority of these people were just trying to get home to their families. They live in Natambua, they live in Vunda, or they live in parts of Lautoka, and even some live further as Mba. However, the Fiji police force who were at the borders manning them told them that they were not allowed to go into Lautoka as the city has been locked down.
Now, from your own observation of everything today, do you feel the measures put in place, such as the roadblocks, are proving to be effective?
Yes, I believe so, because this is an opportunity for police to ensure that they restrict the movements in and out of Lautoka, especially at these Nadi-Lautoka borders, because a few people tried to get in to Lautoka, but the police at these areas have been very strict with Fijians. They've told them that they were not allowed to get into Lautoka City, or even anybody from Lautoka City to come into the Nadi side.
Thanks so much for that update, Felipe. 2 people have died in a landslide at the Namosi Quarry towards Mau Road in Navua, while a 3rd person is missing, believed to be trapped. Police confirm they have recovered 2 bodies this afternoon, while the search continues for the 3rd person. It has also been confirmed that 2 twin cabs and a crushing machine were also buried in the landslide this morning. Police and National Fire Authority officers are investigating. Up ahead, we continue our coverage on COVID-19. Details after the break.
Pula natang ko aproslan ngarse, go erkraki. Radio Fiji One, nandomo ibiti.
Radio Fiji One, nandomo ibiti.
Senior citizens and people with disabilities were seen to have been brushed aside at supermarkets yesterday. Following the confirmation of Fiji's first COVID-19 case, people around the country rushed to supermarkets to stock up on essentials, with very little or close to no one showing empathy for the vulnerable members of our community. Lena Reese has more.
President of the Fiji Disabled People's Federation said people lacked empathy yesterday at supermarkets, and many looked more concerned about getting everything on their shopping list.
Yesterday, I had to wait until a car that was actually not for a person with disability parked in the disability parking space. Then I had to go into the supermarket. Everybody was just so busy concentrating on what they needed. Everybody was bumping into to one another.
In the midst of the hustle and bustle that we're seeing at supermarkets across the country yesterday that can only be described as panic shopping, persons with disability are calling on the public to be courteous and considerate of the most vulnerable members of our community.
Don't let COVID-19 change what Fiji was always known for. If we are the way the world should be, then the humanity in terms of people and ensuring that there is care for one another.
Senior citizens were also seen fighting through the crowds of people to pick up essential supplies.
And looking at the crowd, especially I've noticed there were a lot of senior citizens here too, going out themselves to go and search for food items for their living. You know, it really touched my heart.
People are being reminded to be mindful of their safety and that of others in light of COVID-19. Lena Rees, FBC News.
The fever clinics, which was announced by the Prime Minister yesterday, are now up and running, and these will play an important role in the response to COVID-19. 2 clinics are operational at the Lautoka Hospital, and Fijians can visit these clinics where the health staff are based without having to visit the hospital. Kritika Kumar reports.
Fijians who have symptoms of COVID-19 can only visit these clinics.
The purpose of the fever clinic is to just increase our capability to be able to identify people who have potential.
Dr. Chemesa Tundravo says these clinics are designed to keep people with fevers away from vulnerable people into a separate dedicated space, specially designed to effectively identify possible COVID-19 cases.
Through the work of the people who will be health staff who will be operating the clinic, we will be able to identify whether they have or do not have the disease and the necessary treatment that they need to undergo.
Head of Health Protection, Dr. Alisha Sahu Khan says they will expand the testing to those admitted in intensive care unit with respiratory symptoms.
They will be tested also. They're not suspected cases, but we know the more people we test, the more likely we're able to pick up cases as quickly as possible.
Currently, testing for coronavirus is only available for people with symptoms and have traveled overseas or have had contact with a person with confirmed case of COVID-19. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
The Lambasa Chamber of Commerce is urging consumers to refrain from panic buying. Speaking to FBC News, Chamber President Satish Kumar says there is no need for this as there is more than enough supplies in the supermarkets. There has been a noticeable decrease in the number of shoppers today, but the bulk buying continues as people continue to stock up on their food supplies. None of the supermarkets have put in place measures to control the number of items purchased by a customer. Kumar says he has been assured by the business community that they have ample supply to cater for the wide Vanoi level community during this time.
My advice to the public in Lambasa, the whole community, please don't panic. You know, there is no need to run to the shops and supermarkets buying toilet papers and etc. We just should take precautions and stay away from the gatherings. You know, especially the grog ceremonies. Just take precaution. You don't have to rush around to the supermarkets or the pharmacies.
And we are live with Eleanor Rangaivu, who is in Lambasa. Eleanor, day 2 since the announcement of the country's first COVID-19 case. How are things faring in the north today?
Well, Jackie, things seem to have quietened down a bit here in Lambasa, but the level of precautionary measures that people are taking as well as businesses has definitely leveled up. The noticeable ones today was the first one was in a Share Health Center, where they have set up a tent outside where they will operate from, which is known as the triage area, where they will process and determine which the priority and the severity of cases that they will receive. This is also being done at the main Lambasa Hospital, where the nurses have been identifying and separating the cases of the cases that have been coming in showing symptoms of severe flu and separating them from the others. As well, shops and businesses have equipped their staff with facial masks and hand gloves. This is also true for restaurants and restaurant owners as well as their staff. At one of the banks earlier today, the security was seen to be standing at the door holding a bottle of hand sanitizer for customers who are entering the bank. As well, Jackie, church gatherings. We understand that the Methodist Church of Fiji has issued a memo to all the circuits that cancelling all meetings and gatherings for the church, including the Sunday service, and they have requested members to hold their own church services at home and hold press sessions as well for the nation during this time. And last one, Jackie, One island in Madwata, Kavewa Island, in the district of Nandongo, they are now in a total lockdown. Following a meeting of the village elders last night, they are not allowing anyone from mainland Viti Levu or Bono Levu to come to the island. And this also includes the fishermen who come and fish around the island. They are not allowed to come there anymore until they are being advised by the elders to do so. They say this is in response to the travel restrictions that have been put in place by government, as well as to stop the spread of COVID-19.
Great to hear the measures being put in place, Eleanor. Now, there's been speculation on social media about Lambasa College being used as an isolation centre. Are you able to confirm if this is true?
Yes, Jackie, earlier today, the speculation was rife on social media about Lambasa College being set aside as an isolation center or containment center for COVID-19 cases that are received here in Lambasa. We managed to put the question across to the Chief Medical Advisor, yes, Dr. Chemesa Tunravu, and he has mentioned that this is not true. They have an isolation unit which is a building just adjacent to the Lambasa Hospital. And Jackie, this drives home an important point which we have been stressing from the start of the outbreak of COVID-19 in Fiji, for the people to please stop the spreading of misinformation or fake news unless you have confirmation from government or health authorities. Jackie.
Thanks for clarifying that for us, Eleanor. The national Term 1 school holidays have been brought forward to run from this Monday, March 23rd, through to Friday, April 3rd. Education Minister Rosie Akbar made the decision in consultation with the Prime Minister, keeping in mind the health and welfare of the teachers and children. The first term school holidays were initially scheduled to start on April 20th. Akbar says the ministry will continue to assess the developments in the pandemic situation in liaison with the COVID-19 National Task Force. She advises all parents and teachers to stay calm and ensure they are well versed with updates on COVID-19. Pacific nations are taking strong action following New Zealand's decision to completely close its borders. A state of emergency has been declared in Tonga, and Samoa has banned gatherings of 5 people. And Whitney joins us now with the latest from business.
Thanks, Jackie. We look at how the business world is battling COVID-19. Coming up after the break, businesses investigated for price gouging, and U.S. takes action to save economy. Stay with us.
My name is Neha and I'm from Kadavi, and Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
The Fijian Competition and Consumer Commission is investigating 8 price gouging cases reported yesterday amidst the COVID-19 panic buying across the country. Chief Executive Joel Abraham says their warning remains that retailers must not take advantage of the current situation just to make a quick buck. All point-of-sale systems are also being monitored to ensure there are no sudden or illegal price hikes for essential items.
We've got at least 8 cases that we are now looking at actively, where we've noted some discrepancy, and traders that want to be unethical, FCCC is not closed for business. Our business is consumer protection. We'll continue to do that. If you are unethical, be very worried, we'll get you.
Cases of COVID-19 in the United States have soared past 11,000. As tens of thousands file for unemployment benefits, U.S. President Donald Trump is revealing new steps to help the economy. We now join Gary from HFC Bank with the latest from the world foreign exchange market.
The US dollar is headed for its biggest weekly gain since the 2008 global financial crisis, as the coronavirus pandemic has driven traders to cash, stretching the world financial plumbing. Currency traders want dollar positions and investors need cash to cover losses in the stock market, and both are liquidating everything from gold to bonds to get the US dollar. The demand for the dollar has prompted the US Federal Reserve to allow 15 central banks around the world to borrow dollars cheaply against their domestic currencies. In a surprise announcement earlier this morning, to calm disorderly conditions in the financial market, the Bank of England cut interest rates to 0.1% and announced a new $244 billion bond buying program. Closer to home, New Zealanders have curbed their spending, as data released today showed that credit card spending had dropped 0.6% in February. And that's all from HFC Bank for now. Vinaka.
Here today's exchange rates are set this morning. The Fiji dollar was mixed on the market, gaining against the Chinese yuan, the New Zealand dollar, the euro and the Japanese yen. But the Sangomoli declined slightly against the US and the Aussie dollars and the PNG kina. On the commodities market, the oil prices rose slightly to around $26 per barrel. Gold was up a few dollars at $1,484 per ounce, and silver closed up at $12.45 per ounce. Up ahead, we have a look at what's happening around the world with COVID-19. Details after the break.
Bula, I'm Miri, I'm from Lautoka, and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
The spread of the virus is too fast for us to keep up, are the words of a doctor on the front line of Italy's COVID-19 response. The death toll jumped up by 900 over the last 48 hours to more than 3,400. While it may feel all doom and gloom at the moment, there is some positive news that has come from millions of people staying at home. Levels of air pollution and gases over some cities and regions around the world are showing a significant drop. Parents around the world are facing the same big question. How do you keep your children occupied at home while in isolation? With many countries already in lockdown, this from TVNZ tells us some of the ways to entertain children when they can't leave the house. Up ahead, FRU events grounded due to COVID-19. Details after the break.
Bula, I'm Miri, I'm from Lautoka, and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
All rugby competitions and events have been suspended until further notice. The Fiji Rugby Union's decision is in line with the government's announcement to ban all mass gatherings due to COVID-19. Karatavi with more details.
The Fiji Rugby Union has instructed all local competitions to be on hold until such time the government reviews its current decision.
The FRU board as such has made a decision that we cancel all our domestic competitions until further notice and until the review of the government's position. And the board has also instructed that we contact all our affiliates and ask them to likewise suspend all their club games.
While all sporting events have been cancelled, the Fiji National Sports Commission will use its local programs to educate people on COVID-19.
What we're doing now is working with the Ministry of Health to get the Prime Minister's message out to the youth of Fiji. So no longer are we going to a program and starting to talk about sports. We're going to talk about what they can do. This is our first pitch, is going to be about how they can help themselves not to get the coronavirus.
A decision on future competitions such as Kachi Rugby and the Dean's competition, together with our Flying Fijians commitments in June and July, will be made based on the government's announcement. Karolini Tavi, FBC Sports.
It's highly likely the London and Paris 7 series will be postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. World Rugby is expected to make an official announcement tomorrow. The Hong Kong and Singapore Sevens legs have already been postponed until October due to COVID-19. The London Sevens are scheduled to start on May 23rd, with the Singapore Sevens a week later. The Fiji Secondary School Athletics Association cannot postpone the Coca-Cola Games to next term due to the busy school sporting calendar. The Ministry of Education cancelled the 2020 Coca-Cola Games after Fiji confirmed its first COVID-19 case yesterday. FSSAA President Marika Uluinadeva says they have no choice because the second term is taken up by the school's Rugby Super Deans competition.
We had proposed for postponement to term 2, but then they told us that we have deans in term 2, so it's going to jam up the school program, and we also agree with them. And either we have it this term, and if we don't have it, then we cancel it and have it, just because of the timing.
And our favorite weather lady joins us now.
Ciao! I feel very Italian today. Welcome to the Weather World. The weather is not favorable at all. There are so many flash flooding and rainfall going on, and this is only because of a low pressure system that decided to come and see us for a brief period. Now looking over to the west, cloudy skies brought brief showers. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to Suva, more showers will be directed towards us later tonight. And up north, showers are highly likely. At sea, southeast winds 15 to 20 knots, moderate to rough seas. Turning to the tides, low tide at 10:40 p.m. with high tide at 4:55 a.m. Sunrise at 6:10. For tomorrow, the weather is not very promising. Rain is very much in the weekend picture, so don't get wet unless our mums tell us to scrub the floor or to rake the lawn. Then we'll have no option but to do it. Otherwise, you know what's going to happen. Tomorrow's temps, all centers will feel cool in the low 30s. Keep warm and keep safe. And looking further on to Sunday, showers are likely to ease. That's in the prediction. But you know, weather is always unpredictable. Whatever it may be, you enjoy, take care, and keep washing your hands. That's all from the Weather World for this week. Jackie joins you again with the latest from the outer world.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. Recapping the main stories for tonight. COVID-19 cases remains at 1. Police issue West warning. And Fiji Rugby Union calls off all games. Now for these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. Our poll question we're asking, should Fijians resort to wearing face masks in light of the COVID-19 threat? Visit our FBC website to answer. And on to our shot of the day. Our team was out on the streets of Suva today observing members of the public taking precautionary measures. A lot of people were seen wearing masks and in some instances, gloves as well. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj, via Facebook page FBC News, our Twitter page at FBC_news, or simply hashtag FBC News. That was your news for tonight. From the team and I, have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Remember to wash your hands, stay safe. Good night.
Bola, I'm Miri, I'm from Lotoka, and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.